Let's talk about a communication strategy that sounds, well, completely backwards, but it might just be the most powerful tool you ever learn. We're going to talk about how to win an argument by, you guessed it, losing it. So let's just really dig into this question. What if our whole approach to disagreements is just wrong? In this explainer, we're going to start with a really crucial mindset shift, and then we'll break down a few powerful strategies that show you how letting go of a small point can actually get you the big win you were looking for all along. Okay, so first things first, and honestly, this is the most important step of all. It's a huge mental shift. We have to completely redefine our goal. We've got to stop chasing that little dopamine hit of being right and start focusing on the long-term outcome that we actually want. Yeah, this slide just breaks it down perfectly. Think of these as the two voices in your head during any argument. On the left, that's your ego. It's screaming, "Prove you're right, don't back down." But on the right, you've got the much smarter, more strategic voice, the outcome-driven goal. It asks, wait a minute, what do I really want to accomplish here? And a lot of the time, the real prize isn't that little victory. It's keeping the peace, or preserving a relationship, or, actually solving the problem. Okay, so that all sounds good in theory, right? But how do we actually put it into practice? Well, our very first strategy is called win by losing, and it's all about the art of the strategic concession. And to make this super clear, let's just walk through a classic everyday example. So, picture this. Your roommate gets home, and they are furious. They're pointing at an empty cookie box, and they say, "You ate 17 of my cookies." The accusation is out there. The air is thick with tension. Now here's the detail that trips us all up. You know for a fact that you only ate 16. You're just off by 1. So technically, the truth is on your side, but just barely. So what does our old, ego-driven brain do? It kicks in immediately. You fire back with, "No, it was 16. And what happens next? You're suddenly in this ridiculous argument about a single solitary cookie. The real issue, that you ate their cookies, is completely lost, and the whole thing just spirals out of control over a tiny, pointless fact. Nobody wins. But the new strategy, the outcome-driven one, it's totally different. Who cares about one cookie? You take the small, factual loss. You apologize for eating the cookies, you let them know you hear their frustration, and you focus on making it right. See? The goal was never to win a cookie debate. It was to fix the situation. So, to win by losing, you have to put the outcome way ahead of your pride. You just have to. You take that small L on a minor detail to get the real win, like a repaired friendship. By just conceding that tiny point, you make the other person feel heard, you validate their feelings, and poof, the anger just deflates, and you can solve the actual problem. But what if you can't just concede? What if it's a bigger deal, and you genuinely need to get someone to see your point of view? Well, our next strategy is all about how to build a bridge. This isn't about giving up ground, it's about finding common ground. The technique we're going to use here is actually inspired by the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates. The whole idea is you don't attack the other person's argument head-on. No way. Instead, you gently guide them toward your conclusion by starting with things that are really, really easy for them to agree with. And here's how you do it, step by step. First, you find one small, undeniable thing that you can both nod your heads to. It can be tiny. Then, you build on that with another small point of agreement. You're trying to get them into a pattern of saying yes. And only after you've built that solid foundation do you slowly, gently guide them toward your main point. You're not attacking them. You're inviting them across a bridge that you've built together. Now, these strategies are incredibly powerful, but using them correctly leads to an even more important piece of wisdom. It's not enough to know how to argue. You also have to know when. And that brings us to our third and maybe most important strategy. Choose your battles. I mean, this might be the most underrated strategy of all time. Seriously. Sometimes the only winning move is not to play. The absolute easiest, most effective way to win an argument is to simply not have it in the first place. This quote just says it all. You have to be willing to walk away from a fight, even when you know you are 100% correct. Your time, your energy, your mental peace, those are limited resources. Don't waste them trying to convince someone who's just determined not to get it. And finally, choosing your battles forces you to ask an even bigger question. What if it's not just this one argument? What if it's constant conflict. This is where we have to zoom all the way out and learn to recognize incompatibility. It's about understanding when the arguments are just a symptom of a much, much deeper problem. So, what are the signs? Well, ask yourself this. Are you constantly fighting? Does it feel like you just have nothing in common anymore? Do you get that gut feeling that the other person just doesn't really care about you or what you think? And maybe the biggest one of all, does the relationship feel like hard work that you have to force every single day? Listen, these aren't just bad arguments. These are red flags. And when you start seeing those signs, the goal has to change completely. The solution is no longer about winning an argument, or even winning by losing. The real win is to recognize that this just isn't a good fit, to be as kind and respectful as you can be, and to move on to find people who are. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question. Think about a conflict that's going on in your own life right now, whether it's big or small. How could you solve it? Not by fighting harder to prove you're right, but by completely redefining what a win actually looks like.